Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another Me First Mornings. I am your host and energy alchemist, Patricia Ribeiro Wolfson, and I am here to motivate and inspire you to create a daily routine that helps you, number one, calibrate and elevate your energy. Number two, connect with your inner guidance. And number three, navigate your challenges with ease and grace. And yes, it is possible. So what are we talking about today? Well, today we are talking about self-sabotage, right? Are you self-sabotaging your happiness? Are you self-sabotaging your success? We talk a lot about self-sabotage in the personal development industry, things that people do that work against their development, against their success. But I'm here to tell you that I don't believe in self-sabotage. I don't think self-sabotage exists. I believe that the idea of self-sabotage just adds more guilt and shame to the healing process, and that's ridiculous. We don't need to add any more to the healing process. We need to add kindness and compassion, not guilt and shame. People are having a hard enough time getting past the things that are going on in their current life. You're probably having a hard enough time with the challenges that you're currently facing without adding on the idea that you are purposely derailing your happiness or purposely derailing your success or unconsciously derailing it. So I prefer to look at it not as self-sabotage, but self-protection. So if you are in a mode of self-protection and not taking action that somewhere you think you should be taking, well, then you have to take a step back. And what we need to do is approach it from a place of compassion and kindness for yourself, just as you would for anyone, just as you would for a child who's struggling. You don't say you're purposely screwing things up. I mean, maybe you do say that, but they're not purposely screwing anything up. They are simply protecting themselves from taking action that feels scary. And so we're going to talk a little bit more about that today. But in the meantime, let's get started with our Me First Morning ritual, which is the way that we start our morning every day here on Me First Mornings. And if you're watching, please make sure you say hi. Let me know you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. And we'll start that process right now of this Me First Morning ritual. Now, the reason that I always like to begin with the Me First Morning ritual is because it's really important that we establish this as a practice so that when you're faced with challenging moments or when you feel like you're having a setback in your own personal development, a process, you have something to fall back on. You have a practice that you can go to, and you can choose anything from this morning practice that we go do together, and you can use that when you're struggling at any point, right? And what are we doing? Well, we're lighting the candle, we're using essential oils, we're taking deep breaths. Those are things that can get you grounded, can get you back into your center, back into your body. And it's really important for you to be connected and into your body and connected with spirit as best as you can so that you can see the possibilities, so that you can allow yourself to receive any solutions that may be coming your way. Because when we are in panic or anxiety or frustration or anger or in overwhelm, it is really difficult for us to take action or to come up with any solutions, right? Because we're stuck in that energetic block, that energetic stickiness where we feel the weight of our decisions, right? You may feel the weight of your decisions. You may feel the weight of the lack of decision making because you're feeling the pressure of what might be the consequences of your choices, what may result if you take this route versus that route. And it's really hard to make decisions sometimes. So this practice, this Me First practice that we're going to do together is to help you get back into your body, get back into your truth, right? Into your truth, connected to your inner guidance. All right. So here we go. Let's start. I'm going to start by taking a sip of my tea today. Hopefully there will be less coughing today than there has been this week. Of course, I say it and yeah, okay. Good morning, Mom. Nice to see you. All right, here we go. Let's light that candle. We're going to use some essential oils. And this is, I recommend you use the same essential oil, only because this will establish a routine for you and it will give your body that physiological reminder, that trigger to come back into your own when you use the same oil, because then you can use it and that will, like, I always use this oil when I do the Me First mornings. The one I use is Sacred Frankincense, but you can use any one that you feel sort of is calming or grounding or that resonates with you. And what you want to do is you want to connect that scent. You want to connect the oil that you use in the morning, whatever one it is that you use, you want to connect that to your peace. You want to be able to connect that to your groundedness. So you have something that you can go to if you're struggling, right? If you're frustrated, if you're scared, if you're feeling super challenged, if you're in an energetic state that feels uncomfortable and you want to sort of get yourself out of it or move past it. This scent should help you just as breath will help you. And we're going to do that next, okay? Because breathing is super important. Breathing gets us back into our bodies. And breathing is literally life force energy moving through us, right? And it helps energy move. It helps things move. It helps shift our state of mind and our well-being. Breath is life, right? So this is what we want to do. We want to connect ourselves to our breath. Put your feet well planted on the ground, and I want you to feel the support of Mother Earth. I want you to feel that supportive groundedness, right? Where you feel like your feet are well planted and you're not going anywhere. It's not shaky, it's steady. That's what we want. We want to feel steady and we want to feel supported by the universe. At the same time, I want you to open up the top of your head and just imagine that liquid sunshine is coming down into your head through your whole body, that beautiful healing light permeating every single cell and just dissolving and dissipating any stuck, stagnant, or dense energy as we breathe. And we are just going to take deep breaths. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. We're going to count in for 5, hold for 5, and then release for 10. And we're just going to imagine that our whole body is being filled with that healing light. Here we go. Deep breath in for the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And release for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Releasing anything that doesn't serve you. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, let's do that again. I won't count this time. I'm just going to breathe along with you. You're going to take 5 breaths in, not 5 breaths, 1 breath, like for the count of 5. In, you're going to hold for 5 and then release. And when you exhale, you are releasing any of that dissipated energy, that stuck, stagnant, and dense energy that healing light just dislodged and released from inside. You're going to let it come out your mouth and you're going to allow the universe to just transmute it for the highest and greatest good of all. Here we go. And hold for 5. And release for 10. Beautiful. Last time, make it count. We're going to take a deep breath in for 5, counting 5, holding for 5, and releasing for 10 once again. Here we go. And hold. And release. Beautiful. Okay, thank you so much. Put down those crystals that I was using, and now it's time to do a little stretching because we want to continue to release the tension. We want to release any discomfort. We want to release that stagnation, right? The energy that gets stuck in our bodies, it stagnates and it creates discomfort and it creates pain. Remember what I always say, pain is pay attention inside now. If you are feeling pain on your body somewhere externally, right? Externally, I mean, you could be feeling the pain internally too, but once you feel pain, it's time to pay attention. It's way time to pay attention before that, but especially if you're feeling pain, it's immediate. You have to take a look at where that pain is coming from and try and get to the root of that pain so that you can release it. All right, here we go. And we want to breathe into any area that feels particularly tight and allow our breath to sort of loosen that tightness, to loosen that energy. Releasing with the exhale any of that tightness, any of that stuckness, okay? And here we go. We want to just loosen things up. Beautiful. All right, now shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Woo! Now, we get to start our day. All right, so now let's think about what do we want to call in for our day? What is our GPS word for today? What do you want to feel today? What is most important to you? What is your focus? Now, don't forget, of course, if you don't know about the GPS word or what I'm talking about, you can feel free to download for free my quick reference guide. It will help you with our Me First Morning rituals. It gives you all sorts of tips, and especially there is a quick reference activity to help you figure out your GPS word. You can go into the description of either the YouTube page or Facebook, and you will see a link. It's on bit.ly/mefirstmornings. So go ahead and take a look at that. Also, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please go to YouTube at Me First Mornings and press subscribe and ding that notification bell, and you'll be notified when I'm going on live again, which is usually Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m., barring, of course, any sort of health issues that we're dealing with in the house. Okay, so now let's think about that GPS word, and let's call for support from our spiritual support team to help us embody that GPS word. So I don't know what that word is for you. I'm going to go with my usual word, which is peace. I want peace, and I'd like to embody peace. So I'm going to keep that at the top of my mind as I say the prayer that I wrote, especially for Me First Mornings, which is calling in for the support of the spiritual support team while also asking to release anything that doesn't serve us. Each and every morning I like to do this because I like to sort of hand it to that spiritual support team to help get me on track with what I need, right? Because sometimes I get easily distracted, but if I get my spiritual support team on it, I will get little signs and synchronicities happening throughout the day to remind me to stay on task, to keep things peaceful, to make peaceful decisions. And for you, your word might be something else, but it works the same. If you have your own spiritual or religious prayer that you would like to say at this point and calling in with your own belief system, that is perfectly fine. If not, you can just join me with this prayer that I've written for this. All right, here we go. Divine Mother, Infinite Father, Creator, Archangels, Ascended Masters, Ancestors, Spirit Guides, and all beings of 100% pure white light, allow me to be a clear and open channel of your light and love without hesitation or ego. May the highest vibration of infinite consciousness connect with my higher self and release any and all things that no longer serve me. I ask that Saint Germain and his infinitely powerful violet flame burn away the things that no longer serve myself or humanity and hold us back from our divine existence. Help us to embody our intentions for the day and help us raise the collective vibration for the highest and greatest good of all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So be it, and so it is. All right. Okay, guys, let's talk about self-sabotage, and then I'm going to pull a card and see what do our guides have to say about the whole self-sabotage process. I'd like to know. I know you guys want to know too. But in the meantime, I'm going to just Sorry, guys. I'm just looking for something here. Here we go. No. Oh, God. All right. Bear with me. Here we go. All right. So let's talk about it. So let's talk about self-sabotage. I talked a little bit at the about it at the beginning, right? So laying blame, whether self-blame or pointing to others for things that don't work out in your life, is just another way to disconnect from your truth and distort the healing process. So self-sabotage and self-destruction are terms that add guilt and shame instead of support and compassion along the process of personal evolution. The idea that you're making choices to actively ruin your life is counterproductive to real healing. You don't need any more guilt and shame. You don't need to feel any worse than you already do, because guaranteed, life is probably not going the way you had hoped. Things are probably not panning out in the way you had imagined, and the expectations you had about where you wanted to be or where you thought you might be at this stage of your life are probably not the way you had imagined. And all of that brings with it the weight of responsibility, the weight of disappointment and frustration. And guaranteed, you're already blaming yourself for not getting to where you want or what you thought you wanted out of life, right? You're already blaming yourself. So to bring in the idea of self-sabotage is very upsetting to me as someone who really, really cares about your well-being and about how you use the energy around you for your own healing process, for your own progress, right? For your own personal progress in this journey. Nobody wants to be failing. Nobody wants to be falling behind, or as they say, feeling like they're missing out on the things that they deserve in life. I'm sure you're not sitting there going, I think I won't show up for myself today. And yet there may be things in your life where you're not showing up for yourself. But, although there are some people who want to classify or who choose to classify that as self-sabotage, when you add the word self-sabotage, when you add sabotage, it really means, it feels energetically like there is a purposeful manipulation. There is purposeful decisions that is derailing your success or your happiness. And it's not purposeful, right? What happens is that the little inner critic in our mind shows up when we are showing up for ourselves, when we are taking action or making decisions for our well-being or for our personal evolution. Sometimes you may be afraid to take that action. You may be afraid to make a phone call. You may be afraid to submit your resume. You may be afraid to change the way things have been up until now because you're not quite sure where things might go. And so I don't want you to classify that as self-sabotage. What I'd like you to do is shift that mindset and look at it as self-protection, right? Because that inner critic is really just like, it's not necessarily your mom, although it could be the voice of your mom or the voice of someone who cares for you. But what happens is that inner critic becomes that, like, I always describe it as like that scared friend who is afraid of taking steps, who's afraid of taking chances, who's afraid of moving forward, right? Now, but that's your best friend. Your best friend is looking out for you, right? Your best friend, that inner critic, as nasty as they can be sometimes, right? That is protection mode. It's don't do that. You're going to get hurt. Don't take that step. You're going to fail, right? Now, it is an inner critic, but really it is that part of you that's trying to protect you from pain. It's that part of you that's trying to protect you from failure. It's that part of you that's trying to protect you from disappointment. And that part of you does not need to be cut out of your life. That part of you is important because there's plenty of things where you need that little voice that says, hey, watch out, don't do that, right? You want that protection, right? Just like you want that friend that's looking out for you. You want that friend who's going to stand up for you and be like, hey, don't talk to my friend that way, right? Or don't do this because it's dangerous. You want that. But what you need is to develop a relationship with that protective part of you. And you have to acknowledge it and then talk to it and have the relationship for it to know that you are okay, that you are taking care of yourself. So you can say to that part of you, hey, thanks. Thank you so much for looking out for me. This is really scary. This is a scary step. This is a scary action. I'm terrified of the consequences, right? So thank you for that warning. But it's time for me to step forward. It's time for me to take this chance. It's time for me to take this action. And I'm going to call in my spiritual support team to give me a sign, to send me synchronicities so that I can feel more comfortable about moving forward, so that I can feel safe around making decisions, because that's really what it comes down to. It is not self-sabotage, it is self-protection. So, and how do you stop sort of the negative aspects of self-protection, right? That part that's stopping you from doing things out of fear. How do you resolve that? Well, it's certainly not by guilting and shaming that part and saying, you're just screwing up on purpose. You could do better if you wanted, but you really suck, right? That's allowing that inner critic to take over. And we don't want that. Right? What we want is to acknowledge it and then make it safe, right? How can you make that action that you're avoiding? How can you make it safe? How can you feel protected with that action, right? And that's something that you can either speak to someone, right? You speak to a therapist, or you speak to a counselor, or you speak to a coach that can talk you through and help you reframe what some of the realities are about these choices that you're making that maybe you're hesitating about, right? You maybe need someone to reflect back to you the truth of what's really happening, because very often our truth is distorted, right? Because that self-protection mechanism kicks in and then starts to see the version of truth that supports that limiting belief, the version of truth that keeps us stuck or keeps us out of taking action, because it's trying to be protective. So you need to work on creating safety around your choices, creating safety around those actions that you feel are important to take, but maybe you don't feel ready to take yet. So the first thing you need to do is, number one, be kind and compassionate with yourself about whatever stage you are at in your healing. There's going to be times that you just can't take that action, right? When you think about like jumping into a pool, right? And lots of people get into a pool differently. And I use a pool because, that's kind of a fun analogy, right? There's some people who like to just jump into the pool head first. There's other people who like to slowly walk in with their legs and kind of wet their body as they get into the pool and just sort of ease into that temperature change, ease into that water. Right? Now, there's nothing wrong with either choice. Both people still end up in the pool, right? But if you are yelling at yourself for going into the pool slowly, well, or berating yourself, or if somebody was to insult you and be like, get into the pool. What are you, a scaredy cat? Get into the pool, or whatever. Like I'm imagining like, sort of middle schoolers, making fun, right? Which can happen. What you want to do is make it easy, right? What would you say to a child that wants to go into the pool but maybe is afraid to jump in? You would let them take their time. You would encourage them lovingly. You would feel compassion for them, understanding that this might be a big thing for them. And that's what you have to do for yourself too. You have to understand that there are some things that, even though it's easy for someone else, even though it may have been easy for you at some other point in your life, at some other stage of your life, and now it's difficult, whatever it is, if you're struggling to take a certain action you have to take, well, the first thing is, like I said, be kind and compassionate with yourself, and allow yourself to take the time that you need. And the second thing is create safety around your actions, create safety around your decisions. And so you need to figure out what will make you feel safe to take that step. And do not take that step until you feel confident that you are protected. Because when you create safety around your choices, when you create safety around your actions, then you are going to be acting with a lot more courage, with a lot more clarity, and a lot more gumption, right? You're going to be taking chances in a different way because you're going to feel divinely guided and protected. You're going to know at the end of the day, no matter what, you're going to be okay. And that is the feeling that we want to create more than anything, is that, and that's the truth, right? The truth is that no matter what you decide, no matter what action you take, you're always going to end up wherever you need to be, right? Just like that pool example. Whether you jump in head first and get right into the pool, or you take your time and you put your feet in and then you walk out, and then you put your feet in again and then you walk out. You may take longer to get into the pool, but you will still get into the pool and you will still get wet and you will still have fun. And so that's what you need to focus on. Don't worry about the timeline and how long it's going to take you to get where you want to go. Think about creating the most fun process as you go through those choices, as you evolve as a person. Allow yourself to have time to evolve. Allow yourself to feel safe. Allow yourself to feel the results of the work that you are doing each and every day. Okay, let's pull a card because it's already 10 o'clock or just about, and see what does our spirit team, our spiritual support guide or guides, what do they want us to know about this self-sabotage business, which I completely don't agree that we self-sabotage. But I do think that we are always in protection mode, right? We are in protection mode for ourselves and for people we love, right? Even when we give advice to our children, so much of it is cloaked in protection, even though it may be even limiting in some respects. All right, here we go. For those of you who have not yet subscribed, don't forget to go to my YouTube channel and subscribe. Tomorrow I will be doing Fun Friday, which means I'm pulling cards for anybody who's hanging out and watching and wants a card pulled. So make sure to meet me tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. I will be here again. And in the meantime, let's see. What do the guides want to tell us today? All right, here we go. It is card number 25, and this is Metamorphosis. Now, this is beautiful, okay? Because, this is what it's all about, right? Our evolution, our personal evolution, our metamorphosis can only happen when we protect ourselves, right? Now think about this. When a butterfly is in the midst, or when a caterpillar is in the midst of his own transformation and it cocoons, right? We have butterflies here. That's the whole, we got a butterfly up here, and actually we have the two flamingos here. And we're talking about change. We're talking about metamorphosis. And what happens with metamorphosis is, the caterpillar goes into a cocoon, right? It goes into a protection place, a protective place, so that it can shed all the layers that don't serve it, right? And so if you are not taking action, if you are not showing up in the way that you feel like you need to, you might be in the process of metamorphosis. And so you're not supposed to be showing up, right? The caterpillar can't come out of its cocoon mid-transformation when it's all gooey and gross and still changing. First of all, it's going to die in the elements because it's in the process of transformation. But also it's not serving it. You have to allow for that transformation to happen. And what we've been talking about today in creating the safety around our action, creating safety around our personal evolution, that's what this is all about. It's about creating a safe space where you can evolve. Now imagine if you're trying to do something new, right? You go somewhere trying to do something new, and every time you're trying it, If you fail, you have people yelling at you. You suck. You're the worst. Oh my God. Right? Like, why would you continue trying? You wouldn't. You would just be like, I'm done. Obviously, I'm not good at this. And that's why you need to create safety. You want to do it in a place where you are protected, where you are supported, right? Even if that's in here, right? You have to create a supportive environment within your own energetic space. There might be people making comments, all sorts of comments, and have all sorts of judgment about what you're doing and how you're doing it. That's not your problem. Your main focus, remember the name of the show is Me First. Your main focus is you and making sure that you are creating a safe space where you can evolve, where you are creating a atmosphere where you can take chances, where you can try things, where you can allow yourself to change and evolve in the ways that feel good and in alignment with who you are. But if you can't test things out, if you don't feel safe, getting it wrong, then you're just going to stop yourself from taking chances. You're just going to stop yourself from taking action. And that's where we get into that sort of, self-sabotage, self-protection debate. So the first thing you need to do in order for you to truly change, in order for you to bring yourself and everybody around you through this evolution, humanity's evolution right now, because we are all evolving, what you need to do is to create a space where you can safely take chances, try new things, and actively practice doing things differently than you've done them before. It is an active practice. That is how the metamorphosis can happen. You need a safe space, and you need to start doing things differently than you've ever done before, and practice doing it differently. Practice creating safety around your choices. Practice creating safety around your actions. And then don't worry about the consequences. Leave the consequences in the hands of your spiritual support team. Leave the consequences or the results of your choices and your actions in the hands of spirit, and ask that you feel confident to move forward for the highest and greatest good of all. Ask to receive the signs and the synchronicities for you to get clarity in the direction that you're moving. And know that no matter what choice you make, no matter what steps you take, no matter what action you decide to commit to, all of it is part of your story. And all of it is part of your evolution, and all of it will be for the highest and greatest good of all, as long as you set that intention. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, you are the light. You are the light that the world needs. So do whatever you have to keep shining that light. Connect with that higher version of you, that inner guidance. That's going to keep you on track. That's going to keep you evolving. And that's going to keep you on your personal mission for the highest and greatest good of everyone. All right. Thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow for Fun Friday. Susie, thank you for being here. Mom, thank you for being here. Anybody else who's watching, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Drop me a little note if you're watching in the replay. I hope you have a wonderful day. Love you all. Bye. Oh, have a good day,